Well, it is June 1st of 2025, and it is Semen Retention Sunday here on the Regal Change account. And I got to keep it real with everybody because, as you all know, that's how I roll. I had my first cup of coffee this morning, right before this, since September of 2024. So it's been like 8 or 9 months or so. And I got to keep it real. I kind of feel as high as a kite, so we're going to go through this video the best way that I can, and I'm going to be just as real and authentic as always. So today, I want to talk about being immune to hot girl summer on semen retention, because there's a lot of men out there that are falling into the temptations right now. You know, they're getting this feeling that they are not going to be able to make it, apparently, through the summer. The temptations are just going to be too strong. But I think that this is why semen retention is so powerful, is because you start to care less about whether or not you are going to be trying to get any insides of the pink palace more so than you are with anything else. Like, you start to value God and your purpose more on semen retention. You just do. There's no other way to describe it. And of course, on semen retention, your number one priority is going to be God and your relationship to Him and with Him. Because if you don't have a relationship to God, it's going to be very hard for you to actually flee from temptations. Now, I'm not saying that if you're practicing semen retention, you should be practicing it, forever, indefinitely. But what I am saying is that if you're going to be practicing it, don't stop practicing it just because you see a hot chick or a hot bird, as my fellows in the UK call it. I just learned about this. Apparently, women are called birds in the UK. I didn't know this, but it's very interesting. But anyway, man, that coffee is crazy, man. I cannot tell you guys what a difference I feel. I feel so much more just, not necessarily sporadic or neurotic, but man, the world feels different. Like that's crazy. I wonder personally why God made coffee beans, but I can see now why He would. But anyway, we'll leave that as it may be. But your relationship to God is going to be the most important, because it's about becoming stronger, being more elevated, being more disciplined, and your immunity to the hot girl summer, especially during this time, you're going to be, because God's going to be testing you. And if you can stay immune to hot girl summer, when you trust that you're immune to these hot women that are just flaunting their bodies, because we all know that that's going to be what a lot of women are going to be doing. Now that it's June, we're heading into summer officially within the next couple weeks, right? So it's going to be happening. And the best thing that we can do, if you don't want to fall into temptation, if you want to stay on semen retention, the best thing that we can do as men that want to be like this is to have a purpose, is to do things that we want to be doing. Stop trying to take in all of these different perspectives. This is something else I see, is a lot of men will see a lot of different kinds of, and women, but specifically for the men here, they'll see a lot of different kinds of videos or writings or articles and whatnot, and they'll gather a bunch of different kinds of information, but then they can't sort it and organize it for themselves. It's better to go all in on some people that you feel like you can really trust and you want to emulate their being to some degree. Like, you see where they're going and you're like, okay, I want to go where they're going. How do I get there? What kind of tools do I need? Because if you're trying to climb a mountain or something, right, and you need certain climbing gear, but you don't want to invest in getting the climbing gear, you're probably not going to make it. You're probably not going to get to the top. You're probably not going to get to where you want to go as far as your destination, because the people that are going to get there have invested in certain kinds of skills or accolades or resources to get to where they are. And if you don't have the ability to see that, then yeah, you're not going to make it to your destination. So it's kind of like going on a dirt road sometimes too, right? Like imagine if you're going on a dirt road in a Lamborghini. That's not going to end well. But if you go on a dirt road in a Jeep or something, and you've got, all the other necessary resources available to you so that, if you get into a muddy situation or whatever the case is, you have the tools and the resources to get out of it or to overcome it. You got to have the right tools for the right situations. And I think that semen retention is the right tool and the right resource to make it through hot girl summer. If you don't want to fall into temptation this summer, semen retention is going to be the tool, and it's going to be a way of life. It's not a god. Okay, a lot of men seem to think that specifically on this channel, that semen retention is like a god. It's like, no, there's only one God for me. And I'm not saying, I see the truth. I know the truth. I was looking everywhere except Jesus Christ before I found Jesus Christ, and well, he found me. But because I was the one that was lost. And I definitely saw Jesus Christ to be the truth. He's the way, the truth, and the life. And it's about, for me, semen retention is more about growing closer to him and just being in a lifestyle that is pure. Again, I'm not saying you need to go indefinitely on semen retention. I'm just saying that if you're going to be participating in these kinds of sexual relationships with women, I would encourage you to do so with the hope that you are participating in a long-term relationship with this woman, or you intend to, because sex is the consummation of marriage according to the Bible. And yes, the Bible does say that it's better to marry than to burn, but the thing is like, you're married. You're married after that, okay? Remaining abstinent is a key, it's a key factor in any long-standing relationship that I've seen. And it's interesting how men that just, it's like, of course we have needs. Of course, everybody has needs, right? And that's become a platitude of discourse, I think. I've got needs. Well, yeah. But you don't need to have those needs right now. Yes, you do have needs, but do you need it now? Really? Do you really need it now? Because that's something that you're going to have to ask yourself. And that's something that you're going to have to really ponder on. Because if you don't need it, if you don't really need it now, then why in the world are you going out there and giving in to temptation and sin? What's funny is sin, think about corn, for example, right? Which I might make a video on this, because the problem of corn is worse than people imagine. If you participate in watching corn and you're in a relationship, you are committing spiritual adultery. If you are watching corn while in a relationship, you're also committing fornication. Or just in general, you're committing fornication. And all of the corn stars that are married or in relationships, you are also now committing adultery with them spiritually. And people think that this doesn't matter. But the problem is, we live in a time where society is just so, quote unquote, liberated that, social media has given people a sense of portraying life to be a certain way when it's really not. And one of my hopes is to provide a channel like this, an account like this, and groups like the Regal Change Academy, one-on-one mentorships, these things to improve people's lives at the roots, because I know that the only way things are going to change is if we start at the roots of society. Well, what exactly does that mean? It means we get to have real conversations and real connections with real people. It doesn't matter if they're quote unquote broke or rich, because more and more recently, I've had more and more well-off individuals reach out to me, and I've realized that someone needs to take care of the rich spiritually. Somebody needs to take care of them, because these people have so much in their life, and it's a blessing, and it's beautiful to see, because they work hard. A lot of them that are low-key, that just stay to themselves, they do their work. They're hard workers, and they deserve what they've gotten. Unfortunately, they've sold a little bit of their soul along the way, or they've lost their soul a little bit along the way. And that's why people like me are here, is because I am not only the rich man's spiritual mentor, but I am also simply a man that can show you the door to something better. I don't need material gains or luxuries. I think they're fantastic. I love them just as much as I love hot women. Hot women are beautiful to look at. They're great to look at. But after a while, especially on semen retention, you're just kind of like, oh yeah, she's hot, she's cool, she's beautiful. Because there's a difference between the beautiful woman and the hot woman, right? Like, you can feel the difference. But it's not really as potent to you after a while on semen retention. It's the same kind of thing with money that I've seen with people that are more well off. It's kind of like money starts to lose its meaning for them. Now that they've got money, it's like, well, now what? It's like, well, now you get to have your spiritual awakening, brother, sister. That's what people like me are here for. Because I'm showing you that there's more to life than money. That money's great, and money can solve a lot of issues in life, but the thing is that last 1%, 2%, 3% that money cannot solve, that's a big portion of your soul and spirit right there. All of the things material, a lot of things material, money can solve, absolutely. But your spiritual health, nothing can beat that pricelessness. And being immune to temptation, because you're always going to have temptation as long as we have a human body, but being immune to temptation is very, very important. Being immune to the luxuries of life, even though you can appreciate them, is also very important. And hot women are kind of like a luxury of life. Again, they're great to look at, but what do they really do for you? And what is I mentioned the Lamborghini or something earlier, right? What does the Lamborghini really do for you? It's not that the Lamborghini is not useful or not worth it. It's that, what does it do apart from just look good and sound good and all that? Yeah, it's got a lot of great qualities, but it's not going to fulfill you, man. And it's great to have, sure. Maybe I mean, I don't have a Lamborghini, but and I don't really plan to ever have a Lamborghini. You know what? I would just like a nice, like, old truck. A nice old truck that still runs well. I used to have a 1994 Chevy. And man, that thing, oh my gosh. Like, I could always rely on that bad boy. It ate gas like popcorn, but because it got only like 12 miles a gallon. But like, holy crap, was that thing reliable. It was so freaking reliable. It was awesome. And this is something that we've seen a lot in our time, is the newer stuff that is coming out. It's just not reliable. It's just not going to continue. And it's not going to have longevity, right? Semen retention is like that 1994 truck for your mind and your body and your soul. You can always go back to it, and it's going to rely, like, the universe will provide, God will provide, because you're able to hold in your essence. You can't go wrong on semen retention. I've tried, like, like, not intentionally to go wrong, but it's like, I've made certain errors over the past 3 years or so that I've been on semen retention. And, you know, yeah, there's been wet dreams. And the wet dreams, I don't count them as relapses because, well, why would I? I'm unconscious. I'm not actively participating. And a lot of them are just spiritual attacks. But, yeah, I've had wet dreams. And I don't count those, right? I don't think anybody ought to count those as relapses. And but for the most part, it's almost like every single time I can come back onto my feet. If I fall, God just kind of sets me back up. And he always provides. It's crazy. It's crazy because, remember, as the Bible says, seek first the kingdom of God and everything shall be added unto you. And Jesus also talks a lot about how if you forsake your soul for the world, what do you gain? Right? Well, that's what a lot of people that are striving to be rich, and there's nothing wrong with richness, but there's our inner richness, right? Like Bob Marley's talked about that. He's like, somebody in the Regal Change Academy group that we have posted a clip about Bob Marley a while back. He's like, does possessions make you rich? I don't have that kind of richness. My richness is life forever. That's exactly what semen retention is about. That's exactly what it is. You're realizing that there's something more to this life. There's something more to being than just material things. Material things are fantastic. They're fun. They're cool to have. And they make life a lot easier sometimes. Most times, actually. But spiritual fulfillment, you can't really put a price on that because it's timelessness. There's a sense of timelessness that comes with it. But I think I said everything I wanted to in this video. I still kind of feel high as a kite with the coffee. It's kind of crazy. My God. I hope that this was coherent, because I felt as though throughout this video I was kind of going off over here, not into the weeds, but like I went on a path this way and I came back on this path. I went back on this path over here and back, and now we're still on the main path, but I'm taking a little bit of like side quests along the way, which is fine. But I hope that this was useful and informative and edifying in one way, shape, or form or another. If you want to sign up for a free 15-minute call to join the Regal Change Academy group to learn more about it, go ahead and click the link in the description box below. I'm also hosting a Godlike Mastery Initiation class that is for free. Okay, just follow the instructions in the link in the description box below, and you'll be able to attend that on Saturday this week at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to be going over how to become more godlike and how to have a godlike mastery and why it's so important to understand the physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual health for your own fulfillment overall. But anyways, I think with all that being said, peace be with you all, and until next time.